This is KVUE News Daybreak.
To this day, I still leave lights on for him. I still look for him to come home. I need to get this piece of justice and this closure for him.
A mother's desperate plea to find the driver who killed her teenage son. The message she wants that person to hear.
Secretary Tillerson gears up for a day of tough talks with Russian leaders. I'm Maggie Ruley, and we'll have the latest coming up.
And this escalated quickly. Central Texas slammed by flooding. We'll take a look at the impact the weather had on parts of San Marcos.
Good morning to you, and thank you for joining us for KVUE News Daybreak. I'm Brian Mays.
And I'm Yvonne Nava. It is Wednesday morning, and we want to welcome a new face to Daybreak.
That's right. This is Anavid Reyes. She's going to be joining us every morning from now on as our new traffic reporter. So, Anavid, tell the good people of Daybreak a little about yourself.
Absolutely. Well, I was raised in Houston, and so I'm no stranger to that traffic. So definitely going to be here and helping you commute to your destination. I've been out there learning the roads, and so I can help you a little bit navigate around it.
Yeah, you have been really going back and forth, knowing exactly, you know, what everybody goes through on a daily basis with the commute.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. And Erica, you've been here for a while, and I'm really sad to say you won't be doing traffic anymore. I know you're really torn up about it.
She's so torn up.
Boy, let me tell you, that was hard. Covering weather, especially in Austin, and traffic.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anavid.
I salute you.
Help. Help is here.
Best day ever today. I know best day ever for a lot of you guys, too. After all the rain we had yesterday, boy, it was a busy Tuesday. Here's a look at your current conditions. ABIA 62, same thing for Camp Mabry. Dew points are in the upper 50s. So check out all the rain we had yesterday. Stalled out stationary front, now out of our viewing area. But we had some flooding concerns. Areas such as San Marcos, over a half a foot in a couple of hours. Cooler temperatures today because of that system, so we're tracking a very comfortable start to our Wednesday. I think patchy fog is mainly going to be your main issue this morning, and we'll keep a close eye on that. Also, keeping an eye on the roads this morning. We have a close eye with now Anavid Reyes. I'm so happy to pass things on over to you.
Oh, Erica, well, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Well, hey guys, this is a look at your roads this morning. Everything looking pretty great. This is a look at I-35 and Palmer Lane. You can see there that commutes are looking pretty good this morning. Nothing really much to talk about. You can see that that is the story for the major part of the Austin metro area. You can see that there is a bunch of green out there, and a green light for 360 southbound 183 to Pennybacker Bridge, about a 5-minute commute, and a 9-minute commute to Pennybacker Bridge to Mopac. Well, that's it for traffic. Back to you at the desk.
Anavid, thank you, and great to have you with us here on Daybreak. Everything back to normal today at Texas State University after classes were canceled for a few hours yesterday because of heavy rainfall there. The San Marcos River surging above its banks at Sewell Park, putting much of that park underwater. Some water flooded into students' dorms as well.
I don't know who, but somebody propped open one of the doors by the emergency exits, and because of that, a lot of the rain started coming in, and it started soaking up on the ground, on the floor, and then started flooding a little bit, and it was really crazy.
Now, officials say they will not know the full scope of any other flood damage until later this morning.
Well, happening today, a final vote in the Senate for a bill that would give protections to elected officials who don't want to issue marriage licenses based on religious beliefs. As KVUE's Corey Coffin reports, the bill got preliminary approval in the Senate yesterday. She joins us now live at the Capitol with more. Corey.
Well, good morning, Yvonne. This bill would allow county judges and other elected officials to recuse themselves from issuing marriage licenses if they have personal religious objections. Now, to be clear, it still allows the marriage licenses to be issued just by another official without any religious objections. The bill got full Republican support in the Senate and even got one Democrat support with a 21-10 vote yesterday. And as we mentioned, that was a preliminary vote. Since the Texas legislature only meets every 2 years, this really is the first time lawmakers have been able to respond to the Supreme Court's June 2015 decision on gay marriage. And many lawmakers worry that the legislation will open the state up to more litigation.
Isn't this bill fundamentally about allowing clerks to refuse to do their job, given that the Supreme Court is the highest law of the land when they issue a decision, and clerks, like the rest of us as elected officials, have sworn to uphold the law.
Freedoms. I'm not trying to deny anybody a right to marriage or anything like that. I'm simply saying my religious rights and my religious freedoms shouldn't be trumped by others, shouldn't be infringed upon by others, that they should be simply equal to everybody else.
Now, the writers of the bill note that their intention was to allow the state of Texas to implement the Supreme Court's decision to allow gay marriage licenses to same-sex couples while also protecting the religious beliefs of Texans. Now, after a final vote in the Senate today, it'll be considered in the House. We're live at the Capitol this morning. I'm Corey Coffin for KVUE News.
Corey, thank you. 5:05 is your time. A Kyle mother is making a desperate plea 3 months after her 15-year-old son was killed in a hit-and-run in Niederwald. In December, a truck hit Michael Mintz while he walked with friends down FM 2001 near State Highway 21. Witnesses say the driver of a red Dodge truck took off after crashing into Michael. 3 months later, no arrests have been made, and the Department of Public Safety has not reported any leads.
The parent, your job is to protect your child. And I couldn't do anything for him.
And DPS says the truck had damage to the passenger fog light, side mirror, and passenger side front bumper. There is a $2,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. And if you know anything, call Crime Stoppers.
Later today, lawmakers will take a final vote on a bill that would make it easier for sexual assault survivors to track the investigation into their attackers. On Tuesday, the House approved a bill that would create a statewide electronic database to track rape kits. That would make it easier for survivors to track their DNA samples in the system and make it less likely samples would get lost.
The tracking system is a way to make sure that we keep up with that forensic evidence, make sure it gets to where it needs to go in a timely fashion, and that should help, for one thing, to address the backlog, but also allow survivors access codes so that they can know where their forensic evidence is in that process.
Howard says tracking the kits will be similar to tracking a package. The system will also tie into the national database, which will let police know if they're dealing with a repeat offender. The measure does not address the statewide backlog of untested DNA kits. 5:07 now in the White House and the Russian government continuing to exchange heated charges over last week's poison gas attack in Syria. This comes as Secretary of State Rex Tillerson begins a day of meetings in Moscow, demanding that Russia withdraw support for the Syrian government. But that's not the only issue White House officials are dealing with. ABC's Maggie Rulli explains how Press Secretary Sean Spicer is now facing backlash for his comments on the situation.
The U.S. puts Moscow on notice, just as Secretary of State Rex Tillerson set to begin a tense day of meetings with Russia's foreign minister. The White House accusing the Kremlin of engaging in a full-scale and deliberate cover-up of that deadly Syrian chemical weapons attack, ordered by Syrian President Bashar al-Assad on his own people.
Frankly, Putin is backing a person that's truly an evil person. And I think it's very bad for Russia. I think it's very bad for mankind.
On Fox News, President Trump demands Russia withdraw their support from the Syrian regime. But Russian President Vladimir Putin continues to deny that the Assad government was behind the attack. The future of U.S. involvement in Syria remains uncertain. While Ambassador to the UN Nikki Haley has said the U.S. is prepared to do more, President Trump clearly states,
"We're not going into Syria."
Not providing any clarity, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer igniting a firestorm after he suggested that not only is Syria's Bashar al-Assad worse than Adolf Hitler, but that Hitler did not use chemical weapons during World War II.
You had someone as despicable as Hitler who didn't even sink to using chemical weapons.
Advocacy groups are calling for him to resign. Spicer has since apologized for his comments.
Secretary Tillerson says he's open to meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The two have a long-standing relationship, and Putin even once awarded him with the Order of Friendship. But today, that friendship is being put to the test. Maggie Rulli, ABC News, Washington.
All right, take a look at this. Over 100 wildfires are burning across the state of Florida right now, and wildfires have burned through more than almost 24,000 acres of land, destroyed over a dozen homes. The governor is now declaring a state of emergency. Florida's agriculture commissioner says this is the most active wildfire season since 2011. Let's take a look at our forecast. And also, I mean, you're noticing in Florida, really dry out there.
Yeah, their dew points have been extremely low in an area such as Florida. They're not typically used to that. Although for us here, we don't have that issue. We have too much moisture. So much moisture that dew points are going to be a big issue for and a big topic for at least the next week. That's going to cause some patchy fog this morning as you're heading out the door for your rush hour forecast. Temperatures in the 60s, but a lot of cloud coverage will be out there, so that's not going to allow us to be too warm. We're actually going to be average for this time of the year because of a system that brought in so much rain yesterday, but now we have some cooler temperatures. Here's a look at the accumulation that we picked up yesterday. I know the Austin metro area did not get much, and you guys are probably wondering what was the big deal, but it was the folks just to the north of us where they received a foot of rain in some spots. So even though the Austin metro area under 1/10 of an inch, isolated areas, even San Marcos, flooding concerns out there was a huge issue on Tuesday. So at least we get some cooler temperatures here this morning. Austin 7 degrees cooler this morning. Your hour by hour forecast is going to top you out at about 80 degrees for our daytime high. Keep in mind about a 20% chance of rain showers this afternoon. Guys, back to you.
Erica, thank you. Today, debt racked up by hundreds of Austin students who couldn't pay for their lunches has been wiped away, and it's all thanks to hundreds of people from the Austin area. Earlier this week, an article from our partners over at The Statesman detailed how AISD pays $350,000 a year just to pay for school lunches for students who can't afford it. The district launched a crowdfund campaign to help keep those kids fed. Over 350 people have donated over $16,000. If you want to help out and donate to the cause, we have a link for you set up. You can find that on our website, KVUE.com.
That's mighty kind, huh?
It is. Good thing.
Well, still ahead, expected budget cuts are already impacting school districts across the state and even here locally.
That's right, and now educators are asking for your help. This morning, the simple things they say you can do that could have a huge impact.
And more fallout this morning from United Airlines after this video, why some are calling the CEO unsympathetic and how he's trying to make up for it today. Also more information on the person who was forcibly taken off that plane.